Since the final ball of the U.S. Open just weeks ago, bowling fans have been on the edge of their seats waiting to find out who will win the PBA's top honors, the Player of the Year and the Rookie of the Year. Today, the anticipation comes to a close as PBA CEO and Commissioner Tom Clark joins us live to reveal who has won the top honors on the PBA Tour. Tom, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lucas. It's great to be here. Very exciting to make these announcements, and especially here on FloBowling.
Yeah, so we're going to be announcing actually 4 awards today: the Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year, the Harry Golden PBA Rookie of the Year, the Steve Naggy Sportsmanship Award, and the Tony Reyes Memorial Community Service Award. So, Tom, I know that we're going to go through a little bit on each of these awards and how they're decided, but can you talk about how the players are determined for the Player of the Year and the Rookie of the Year, and who votes on those awards as well?
Yeah, the top 10 players in money winnings are automatically Player of the Year candidates, and usually that's going to cover just about everybody that would possibly win the award. And then those names and all of their accomplishments for the year go to the PBA membership. And the membership has really the privilege to vote for this historic award. And once your name is etched as a PBA Player of the Year, you'll never be forgotten, and you go down in the history of the game. So we're really proud that our full membership has the opportunity to take a look at the credentials of every player that was even close to winning it, and they get a vote.
Yeah, and it's been a very interesting year. We've got a handful of PBA Player of the Year candidates who they were all very close in terms of their credentials, so it made for a very interesting race. And then on the Rookie of the Year side, we also had some players who some may say were not, did not deserve to win based on their criteria, but we'll see who the award winners are here in just a few minutes. We'll start off a little bit by talking about the upcoming 2019 season, though. Tom, it's a big year coming up for the PBA. I would argue it's probably one of the biggest years that you guys have had in quite a while. We're going to go back to kind of a week after week tour again in 2019, and how excited are you for this upcoming season?
This is an awesome time for the PBA and for just the entire sport of bowling, and we're coming off a great season. 2018 was the 60th anniversary of the PBA, and it made it special in a lot of different ways. And we had great events. We were able to go back to places like Riviera Lanes for the Tournament of Champions, and be able to celebrate the history of the PBA this year in ways that we never have before. And it was really exciting. But the most action, really, of the year happened off the lanes towards the future of the game. And that was because of this new relationship with FloBowling, the new relationship with Fox Sports for TV. And it really gives us an opportunity to start a new era in the history of the PBA with the 2019 season. And it's a full season, as you said. There's twice as much TV as ever. There's twice as much support digitally because of Flo. And the support we're seeing from both Fox and Flo means that the PBA and bowling on the highest level will have a completely different profile in the sports world. And I think we're going to see it elevate. I think it's going to help us in conversations with corporate partners. And it's going to inspire more great bowling. I mean, that's one thing that we haven't lacked in all of these years is the best bowlers in the world and the best events in the world have always delivered excitement for fans. And now we're just going to be able to reach more fans. There's more at stake. And I think that the players all understand that. And you see a different focus towards the 2019 season. And all that'll do is mean more great moments on the lane.
Yeah, and FloBowling, of course, is going to have live coverage for fans on FloBowling.com, all the qualifying and match play portions of the event. A lot of exciting coverage coming up in 2019. So you want to make sure you check out the events schedule on FloBowling.com to see what we're going to be streaming starting in 2019. Well, Tom, let's get down to it here. I want to start off with the Tony Reyes Memorial Community Service Award. And Tom, you let us know who it is. Who's won the award this year?
Well, this is a special award, and it was named after Tony because of everything he did off the lanes, and what an inspiration he was. And we started this award in 2013, and there's been great winners and people that are great ambassadors of the PBA that see the bigger picture and understand that they can use their name and their influence, and they can use the PBA in order to give back. And to give to the community. So we started this community service award, and this year's winner, no one will argue. Last year, he was inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame, and his name is Chris Barnes. And Chris and his wife, Linda Barnes, who's also a Hall of Famer, they've been giving back for years. The Chris Barnes Thanksgiving Classic youth tournament. He's awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarship assistance since he started that almost more than 10 years ago. And also what he and his family do for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Their son, Troy, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and they have constantly given back and looked for ways to donate, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars to that cause. And so, we couldn't have a more, to me, Chris Barnes is probably the most iconic player of an entire generation, both on the lanes and off the lanes, the way he presents himself, the way he cares about the PBA, the way he cares about the way people see bowling. And I believe he's on the way to Hong Kong right now to represent the United States in the World Championship. But hopefully maybe he's got Skype, maybe he's got Wi-Fi on the plane and can see this. But I'm sure he'll be really pleased, and we'll really enjoy giving this award to him at the Hall of Fame Classic near his home in Arlington, Texas this January.
That's right. Chris Barnes lives just outside of Arlington, where the International Training and Research Center is located. And Chris, of course, a very deserving award winner for this. As you mentioned, Tom, he and his wife, Linda, have spent a lot of time working in the community with their Thanksgiving scholarship tournament and also for the diabetes research. So certainly a very deserving winner of the Community Service Award. So, Tom, we'll move on now to what a lot of the touring professionals consider a pretty prestigious award, and that's the Steve Naggy Sportsmanship Award winner.
Yeah, Steve Naggy Award was started in 1966 when Steve Naggy, who was critical to the PBA, again, both on and off the lanes, when he passed away, PBA Hall of Famer. And actually, Steve Naggy, cover of Sports Illustrated, I think the only PBA bowler to be on the cover, to get a cover of Sports Illustrated. And you're 100% correct that this award means so much to the players, and I think mostly because of who votes on it. And it's only the touring players that are out there every week and trying to make this their entire form of living and be a professional bowler on and off the lane, in the paddock, everywhere, what they represent. And when you get the votes from your peers like that, it means a lot. And there's been a lot of players, if you look at the history of the Steve Naggy Award, who have won it more than once. And that's because they are just consistently great people and nice people and people that you want to talk to and you want to learn from and you want to be like. And so this year's winner is winning it for the second time, and it is Tom Smallwood. Tom, as everybody knows, had one of the great stories in the history of the PBA, when he won the World Championship back in at the first World Series of Bowling back in 2009. And, no one could ever beat that storyline when he lost his job in the auto industry and said, I'm going to become a PBA player. He was already a great player. Everybody knew who Tom Smallwood was, but he was going to be a PBA player. And in his first event, he qualifies for and wins the PBA World Championship against the great Wes Malott in the final. And so it was an incredible story. And ever since, he's really just been a solid performer on the lanes and a friend to everybody off the lanes. And so, he's from Michigan, and I know he's looking forward to the season. I know that he'll feel pretty proud once again to be honored with this award.
Yeah, Tom Smallwood. So he is your Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award winner, won that award back in 2016. Last year it was Chris Loschetter, and then in 2015 it was Josh Blanchard. But Tom Smallwood, among the most humble guys on tour, one of the nicest guys you'll meet out there, and certainly very well deserved. And as Tom, as you said, it is the PBA touring players who vote on that. So that means a lot for Tom, I'm sure, and he'll be very honored to receive that award again. So, Tom, let's move on to some of the even juicier and better stuff here as we keep going. It gets better as we go along here. The Harry Golden PBA Rookie of the Year. This was an interesting one. I made an argument on FloBowling.com in a column that this award could have gone unawarded this year like it did in 2005, but we've got three guys who were the finalists for this award. Anap Aransanam of Thailand. It was the only rookie to win a tour title this season. However, the caveat to that is he only bowled in 3 events, and they were all PBA international events. So he actually did not step foot on U.S. soil and compete in a PBA tour event. And I think that may have made the decision a little tougher for a lot of the voters. The other two gentlemen who were in the running for this award, Cameron Doyle of Brentwood, Tennessee. Cameron bowled almost full-time on the tour, bowled 15 events. He cashed in 7 of them, finished 40th in the points, and had some decent finishes this year. His best was 3rd, and so he, I think, was the one who many people thought of as the front runner for this award simply because he competed and really showed that he was a touring player this season. And then the other finalist for this award is Rafiq Ismail of Malaysia, a very smooth left-hander who we have seen in a number of events this year. He bowled in 4 events. He performed pretty well in those events and finished 58 on the points list. So, Tom, let's get those guys from having too much anxiety here and tell us who has won this award.
Yeah, you did a great job summing it up, and we're really proud of the international contingent and the success that PBA players have had overseas in the World Bowling Tour PBA relationship, and also when they come over here. Ismail bowled really well at the World Series last year in 2017, but he was still eligible for Rookie of the Year this year. But both Anap and Ismail, if you ever get a chance to watch them bowl, I think you're going to see more of them over here in the U.S. This year. You'll be blown away. I mean, they have incredible form, reaction, ball speed. The way their ball reacts and goes through the pins is amazing. But the Rookie of the Year, as voted on by the membership, is Cameron Doyle. And I'm really proud of Cameron. Wow, that's fast. You guys had that ready fast. That was a big secret. You must have had them all ready to go.
We did, just in case.
But I'm really proud of Cameron, and I really think if there's any debate about whether or not Rookie of the Year award was worthy this year, I really disagree with that. I think he actually had a goal, to win Rookie of the Year, and he made sure that he bowled a certain amount of events in previous years so that he wouldn't lose his rookie status, because this is a guy that he is at one with bowling. I'm going to show my age, but man, I remember watching him bowl the Team Masters when I think he was 11, and I remember Gary Beck, saying, "You need to come watch this young man," and I went and stood behind his lane, talked to his dad for a while, and basically could see that this is someone who's special. I think he's grown about 1.5 feet, since then. He's a lot taller than I am now. But he is someone that, I believe is going to be a factor in the PBA Tour for years to come. As everybody kind of knows his story, he cashed in the U.S. Open. He was 14 years old, the most difficult tournament there is at Carolier Lanes, and I remember that. He cashed in regionals, I think, when he was 12, and he was bowling against Walter Ray Williams, and it's just an amazing youth career that he had, and then now he's made that step. And it is not easy on the PBA Tour. I mean, so to be able to cash as many times as he did and bowling a full year, and he traveled to every event. He went to the world events. He bowled everything here. As you said, he made a show on an Extra Frame tour event show. And so he's definitely the worthy recipient, and he won the voting fairly easily. And looking forward to a really great future with Cameron Doyle.
Yeah, Cameron, the hype has been building with him for years now. As you mentioned, he's been bowling in high-level events for a long time, and he definitely set out to win this award this year. He made that very clear in an interview with FloBowling over the summer, and so it's nice to see Cameron come through and win this award, and he's got a lot of potential. You know, a lot of people criticized Cameron after he withdrew from Wichita State after just 1 year and decided to go pro, but everybody has their own path, and Cameron Doyle chose to do this, and it has worked out well for him so far. And I would fully expect that we're going to see Cameron Doyle on some shows in the coming years, if not in the winner's circle coming up in the next few years. He's got a lot of talent, and he's really got his game together, and I think that he's growing as a player. And you know, he told me he expected to get his head beat in on this first year on tour, and to an extent he did a little bit, but he also had a pretty decent year. So congratulations to Cameron Doyle. And here's my hot prediction for next year. Greg Young Jr., look out for him. I think he's got a chance to be the Rookie of the Year next year in 2019. So we'll see what's coming up with that, if there's any other rookies who are coming out in 2019. But Greg's got my early nod for that award. We'll see how he does. Well, we'll move on now, Tom. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming World Bowling Men's Championships. It's going to be right here live on FloBowling as well. That event starts December 1st, goes through the 5th. And, Tom, a whole bunch of PBA players are heading over to compete in that event. I think they're on a plane right now to Hong Kong as we do this show.
Yeah, that is it's essentially the Olympics of bowling, you know, and it's the greatest example of why bowling should be in the Olympics. And obviously it should be in the Olympics. It's really ridiculous, you know, that bowling is not in the Olympics, and the Olympics is really blowing that. I mean, that's kind of on them, and so we look forward to that day when you can watch this kind of competition on that stage. But for right now, this is it, and it's amazing, the talent. I can't remember if you were there, but I remember being in Thailand in 2008, and that was the first year that professional players were allowed to compete in WTBA World Championships. And that first team, if I remember correctly, Walter Ray Williams was on the team, and Chris Barnes, and I think Tommy Jones was, and Rhino Pate, and even though the pros were in it, and most of the amateur players from around the world were taking pictures with our guys, because they see them on YouTube, and they see them on in the history of the game on tape, and now we're able to bowl against them. It was a really special event. And then it came down to the last shot. I mean, it came down to the last frame, and the USA, you know, barely beating Korea to win that gold medal in the team event. The team event is clearly the thing that everybody really has in the back of their mind, and is the biggest event of the World Championship. But now having a chance to watch it as it happens live on FloBowling is awesome. So I'm really happy that, you know, when I was there in Bangkok and watching that event, all I could think was this would be so gripping, you know, for people to be able to watch, and no one could really see it back then. You couldn't watch it live. And so I just wanted to tell as many stories about that event, and came back and really, because of that event, had a goal to get more international players involved with the PBA, because I could tell that the talent level was growing so fast that they belonged on the PBA Tour. And since then, you've seen incredible gains with the World Series of Bowling, and with professional players coming from all over the world. Obviously, we're about to talk about Player of the Year, and Jason Belmonte's won it 4 times, and a lot of that comes from witnessing this World Championship and the amount of talent, and then being able to recruit these players to come to the PBA and be able to get the PBA more involved internationally with things like the World Bowling Tour. It's been a special time for the growth of the game internationally. So now everybody can watch it on Flo, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I was there also in 2008. I remember that Rhino Page, I think, won the team event gold medal for Team USA in a roll-off, if I remember correctly, and it was absolutely amazing, just compelling to watch. And in recent years, Tommy Jones has thrown a double against Finland and Germany to win the team title, and the team event at that tournament is one of the most prestigious titles that you can win in all of bowling. And so we'll have that for you right here on FloBowling. You can go to FloBowling.com, and the schedule of our live streaming is on there. A lot of it's going to happen in the middle of the night because they're bowling in Hong Kong. However, we will have the archives available for you here on FloBowling so that you can watch when you wake up that day. But it's going to be great. A lot of great players are in that event.
I'll be watching it live.
Yeah.
I'll be watching live.
That's right. Real bowling fans will be up watching it live in the middle of the night. That's for sure. And we'll have some coverage for you on FloBowling, as well as a preview of the event coming tomorrow, and then a feature story on Tommy Jones and how he's the closer for Team USA in recent years. That'll be on Friday morning on FloBowling.com. So be on the lookout for that. And we hope you'll join us for all of our coverage of the World Bowling Men's Championships. All right, if we had a drum roll, I'd ask him to hit the drum roll now, but we're going to move on to the Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year announcement. So we've got 3 players that it's been narrowed down to after the vote. We started with 12, I believe, and it is Andrew Anderson, E.J. Tackett, and Dom Barrett, who are the 3 who are up for this award. We put a fan poll out there a couple of weeks ago on FloBowling.com and got over 2,500 votes. And so here is the final tally for who you at home voted for this award. Andrew Anderson got 33% of the votes. Jason Belmonte, always a fan favorite, got 20%. And E.J. Tackett got 17% of the 2,500 votes. So that was a fun vote that we did for the fans. The fans think that Andrew Anderson has earned this award. We'll find out who the PBA members and media members voted on in just a moment. But we'll just recap a little bit for you. These guys, as we said at the top of the show, there were a lot of guys who had really good years. There was no standout favorite for this award. So, but we ended up with the top 3. Andrew Anderson bowled in 19 events this season and cashed in 16 of them. And he was the points leader, which many people look at the points list as an indicator of strong performance over the course of the season. Andrew had 7 top 5 finishes. He won 2 PBA titles. One of them is the United States Bowling Congress Masters, one of the toughest and most prestigious events on the PBA tour throughout the season. Dom Barrett would be the other player who we'll talk about next. He bowled in 15 events, cashed in 12, only finished in 10th on the PBA points list, though. But he did pick up a pair of titles, including, as you're seeing here, the U.S. Open, where he won that event just a few weeks ago to close out the season. So his name was fresh in the minds of the voters as they made this decision. He also won the DHC Japan Invitational to start the year. So it was bookend titles for Dom Barrett this season. And then E.J. Tackett, he won this award 2 years ago. E.J., 20 events this year, 18 cashes, and finished 3rd in the points. E.J. was the only player this season who won 3 PBA titles. He won the Extra Frame Parkside Lanes Open, the Strike Against Breast Cancer Mixed Doubles, and the FloBowling Bear Open. So, Tom, with all that said, that was a mouthful, but let's get down to it. Who is this year's PBA Player of the Year?
The winner of the 2018 PBA Player of the Year award is Andrew Anderson of Michigan. Andrew, as you said, he won the Masters. He was consistent all year. It had to be a difficult vote. I know that I get one vote and I poured over it for days. It was close, but Andrew Anderson, at age 23, he becomes the second youngest player to ever win the PBA Player of the Year award. Billy Hardwick, and the first time they awarded one, 1963, I believe, won it at the age of 22. And when I think of Andrew's year, of course, you think of the highlights, and you think of, I tell you, the FloBowling Tulsa event, the fall swing that we put on, that really was a late addition to the season, had a lot to do with him being a top candidate for this award, because I think he qualified for all three shows, and he put such an intense effort together. Certainly could have won any of those events, and that really put a topping on his year. But when I think of Andrew in 2018, I have to remember back to a scene that I really hated to see in Indianapolis, and we had the Pba League Draft, which I'll tell you right now is the worst day of the year for me. I mean, without question. Of all the things I do as commissioner of the PBA, the Pba League Draft is the toughest. And because I know that people are going to be left out that should be in. It's just inevitable, and it's going to happen. And Andrew was there, and he had made the show at the Tournament of Champions, which was an awesome accomplishment to begin with. Then he had an awesome tournament in Indianapolis, finished sixth, just missed the show. And he performed amazing in the position round. He put a run on it. It's not like he fell back. He made a run to make the top 5 in Indianapolis. And I think that he had so much respect at that moment, that the fact that we had the Pba League Draft right after that moment, he and everyone in the room believed that he was going to be drafted. But as the way things fell, he didn't. And he was there. And I know it was crushing for him. And we all felt it. And we all, said to him, look, you're going to be there. And he took that. And he said, I'll never be left out of this again. He said, I will prove everybody wrong, that they should have chosen me, and that I'm one of the best players in the world. And when you see an athlete and a player, especially in a sport as great and as difficult as bowling, and the fields as difficult as they are, have a goal and then reach it, and then actually be the player of the year in his sport in that same year, that is special. That's inspiring, and that's what the PBA is all about, is being inspiring. And any kid watching this, you should learn from that. You can be as down and you can feel yourself almost in pain from defeat, and yet you can get right back up, and you can make it about you, and you can get whatever you deserve based on the work that you do and your mindset. And Andrew Anderson did it. So really awesome for him to win, and awesome for the PBA to have so many great young players.
And Tom, I might argue that not being drafted might have been the best thing that ever happened to Andrew Anderson. It really motivated him. It made him want to work harder and get better. And the results were almost instantaneous. And he really had a great season. He got my vote, as I detailed on FloBowling.com. And I know he got the vote of a lot of top PBA players who were very, very impressed with the way that he performed throughout this season. And again, this award is voted on by all of the PBA membership as well as veteran media members. So it's a tough award to win. It was a tough field this year. But as Tom said, Andrew Anderson is your Player of the Year for 2018. And Tom, I know this means a lot to Andrew, but I think he's on a plane right now to Hong Kong.
I know. He's on the way to Hong Kong. I think, and EJ is with him. And EJ Tackett, was the second place finisher and Player of the Year. And well, it's tough to ever not vote for EJ, because all you have to do is watch. The U.S. Open, he qualified for that show, EJ did. And I think clearly if EJ Tackett had won, the U.S. Open, Don Barrett, who finished third in the voting, basically stopped EJ from being Player of the Year. So it's really amazing how one little break here and there can go for one person. But if you sit behind EJ Tackett and watch him bowl up close, and everybody around the country is going to have more chances to do that, and you're going to be able to chance to watch on Flo. He's probably the most awesome player I've ever seen. His release and the power that he puts on the ball from such a small frame. It's kind of like back in the day, Pete Weber, that much power and energy going through the pins from such a smaller person, and what you see from EJ Tackett is a series of skills that are almost, you can't match them. It's something you want to watch, and that's another thing that's great about the PBA. So EJ, he'll be in the running, I think, for years to come. He was another young winner of the Player of the Year, but I think since he's already got one, he'll be pretty happy for Andrew, and I think that that's a tough team to deal with in Hong Kong.
Tom, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do we know how close the voting was in this Player of the Year race?
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. I think one way, Andrew won by, he didn't win by doubling the amount of votes that EJ had or that Dom had, but it was almost close to that. So in one way, you could say that he was comfortably the winner of the award. But in another way, you look at the history of the award, it's probably the closest vote. I think it's the closest vote in 6 years since Sean Rash won the award over Belmo and Fagan back in 2012. That was an extremely close race that Sean won, and this is the closest one since. And that was the closest in many years before that, when it was voting. For some years of the history of the PBA, it was about points, and we brought it back to voting. And since there was voting, I think this is the second closest in this new era of the PBA.
So congratulations to Andrew Anderson, the PBA Player of the Year, and Cameron Doyle, the PBA Rookie of the Year. You'll be able to watch both of them receive their awards. They're actually going to receive them on December 10th at the Kegel Training Center at the taping of the PBA Clash, but that show will air on December 23rd on Fox, and at either 2:30 or 4:30, depending on your location. But Tom, that's when you guys are going to be broadcasting these award presentations, correct?
Yeah, we'll be able to hand the award to Cameron and to Andrew right there at Kegel, where we're doing this special event. And it's the first event that will ever be on Fox, so we're really having an exciting time planning that. It's going to be a great showcase for the PBA. We'll be able to preview the 2019 season. The 8 top players from this year will be competing in this special Clash event, and that will give us an opportunity to introduce these players to the Fox audience. And it'll be on a Sunday afternoon, actually before or after the NFL game that Fox has on that day, depending on what part of the country you're in. So it'll have a really huge audience, and we're so excited about that relationship. So, again, like we started our conversation here today, it's an exciting time for the PBA, looking forward to 2019.
Well, Tom Clark, CEO and Commissioner of the PBA, thank you for joining us this morning as we make these very important announcements to the bowlers and the fans. We appreciate you taking the time and wanting to broadcast these announcements on FloBowling.
Thank you, Lucas. And it's great to see you back involved with the game where you should be. And it's great to see you helping FloBowling and the whole crew at FloBowling. It's been really great for me to know that we put so much time and effort into building Extra Frame, and Extra Frame, for the best fans in the game, and we had thousands of the best fans in the game subscribing to Extra Frame. So moving that to Flow was a really big decision, and I'm extremely proud of it, because there's not only, it's almost like a dream come true, bowling fans, that you can watch an event now and pick any pair of lanes that you want to watch in the bowling center. You can watch whatever player you want to watch, every game they compete in a tournament. And this is something everybody's always wanted. And then on top of that, you have the support, the FloBowling Facebook page, the Twitter handle, the Instagram, FloBowling.com. If bowlers haven't made that a first place they go for news, it's become the best website in bowling. It's probably even better than PBA.com to stay in touch with what's going on in bowling. So I really would encourage anybody watching to like FloBowling on Facebook and follow on Twitter and Instagram, and make it bookmark it, FloBowling.com on their laptop, and then also to really, consider subscribing to Flow Bowling, because it's not just all of the coverage, all of these events in 2019 and beyond. It's also all the supporting tips, information. Go to FlowBowling.com and see the types of programming that's available, including podcasts, the stories that you do, podcasts that Tim Berg does, the Going Brooklyn show that Flow Bowling started down in Austin, Texas, where you are today. All of that stuff is the kind of content that bowling deserves, and we're really excited about. So thanks to Flow Bowling, and thanks to you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. We appreciate it. And that's going to do it from our Flow Bowling studios here in Austin, Texas. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to check flowbowling.com for lots of coverage of the upcoming events and our upcoming live streaming schedule. That's all for now. I'm Lucas Wiseman, senior editor of flowbowling.com, and we'll see you next time here on the Flow Bowling Studio Show.